When the king saw the powerlessness of those physicians, he ran barefooted to the mosque. He entered the mosque and advanced to the mihrab. The prayer carpet was bathed in the king's tears. On coming to himself out of the flood of ecstasy, he opened his lips in goodly praise and laud, saying, "O you whose least gift is the empire of the world, what shall I say, inasmuch as you know the hidden thing? O you with whom we always take refuge in our need, once again we have missed the way. But you have said, although I know your secret, nevertheless declare it forthwith in your outward act." When from the depths of his soul he raised a cry, the sea of bounty began to surge. Slumber overtook him in the midst of weeping. He dreamed that an old man appeared and said, "Good tidings, O king. Your prayers are granted. If tomorrow a stranger come for you, he is from me. When he comes, he is the skilled physician. Deem him veracious, for he is trusty and true. In his remedy behold absolute magic. In his temperament behold the power of haqq." When the promised hour arrived and day broke, and the sun from the east began to burn the stars, the king was in the belvedere, expecting to see that which had been shown mysteriously. He saw a person excellent and worshipful, a sun amidst a shadow, coming from afar like the new moon. He was non-existent, though existent in the form of imagination. In the spirit, imagination is as nothing. Behold a world on a fantasy. Their peace and their war on a thought, and their pride and their shame spring from idea. Those imaginings which trap the saints are the reflection of the fair ones of the garden of God. In the countenance of the invisible guest was appearing that imagination which the king beheld in his dream. The king himself, instead of the chamberlains, went forward to meet his guest from the invisible. Both were seamen who had learned to swim. The souls of both were knit together without sewing. The king said, "You were my beloved, not she. But in this world deed issues from deed. O you who art to me Mustafa, while I am like unto Umar, I will gird my loins to do you service." Beseeching the Lord, who is our helper, to help us to observe self-control in all circumstances, and explaining the harmful and pernicious consequences of indiscipline, let us implore God to help us to adab. One who lacks self-control is deprived of the grace of the Lord. The undisciplined man does not mistreat himself alone, but he sets the whole world on fire. A table was coming down from heaven without headache, and without selling and buying. Some of the people of Moses cried disrespectfully, "Where is garlic and lentils?" The heavenly bread and dishes were cut off. There remained the toil of sowing and mattock and scythe. Again, when Jesus made intercession, God sent food and bounty on tray. But once more the insolent fellows omitted to show respect and, like beggars, snatched away the food. Jesus entreated them, saying, "This is lasting and will not fail from off the earth." To show suspicion and greed at the table of majesty is ingratitude. Because of those impudent wretches who were blinded by greed, that gate of mercy was closed upon them. On account of withholding the poor tax, no rain clouds arise, and in consequence of fornication, the plague spreads in all directions. Whatever befalls you of gloom and sorrow is the result of irreverence and lack of adab nevertheless. Anyone behaving with irreverence in the path of the friend is a brigand who robs men, and he is no man. Through adab, this heaven has been filled with light, and through discipline, the angels became immaculate and holy. By reason of adab, the sun was eclipsed, and insolence caused an Azazil to be turned back from the door. The meeting of the king with the divine physician, whose coming had been announced to him in a dream. He opened his hands and clasped him to his breast, and received him, like love, into his heart and soul, and began to kiss his hand and brow, and inquire concerning his home and journey. With many a question he led him to the dais. "At last," said he, "I have found a treasure by being patient." He said, "O gift from God and defense against trouble, the meaning of patience is the key of joy. O you whose countenance is the answer to every question, by you hard knots are loosed without discussion. You interpret all that is in our hearts. You give a helping hand to everyone whose foot is in the mud. Welcome, O chosen one, O approved one. If you vanish, Gaza will come and the wide room will be straightened. You art the protector of the people. He that desires not has gone to perdition. Nay, verily, if he do not refrain. In next episode, how the king led the physician to the bedside of the sick girl, that he might see her condition.